My name is Patricia, and I'm the publisher of the Sober World magazine. And the Sober World is an informative and educational resource for families and those struggling with addiction. Well, I think the most difficult was getting the approval, of the insurance company really to allow the time that my son needed in treatment. I think that there's a lot of good treatment centers out there, and with the client's best interest at heart, but it's hard when their hands are tied by the insurance companies to really do everything they want to do and that they need to do. The problem is that once they are in treatment, they go from detox, they go into treatment, you can't expect somebody with a full-blown addiction to be cured in 30 days, 60, or even 90, but they need at least 90 days for their brains to start coming back to normal. But a really good continuum of care would be a year program. And when I say a year program, it includes going to detox, going to treatment, going to an extended living afterwards, and then ultimately going to a sober living facility, but it should all be encompassed within a year because they do need a year for their brains to come back to normal. We really need, at this point, to somehow reach the pharmaceutical companies, and they need to rein them in a little bit. Years ago, if you broke your arm, you were told, go home, take an aspirin, call me in the morning. Today, they're ready to give you Oxycontin for a broken wrist or a broken arm. It's ludicrous. And we have people in our, young people now, they just approved for 11-year-olds, they approved Oxycontin. And we have people in their 90s that are becoming addicted. So this whole world is becoming addicted, and now they want to treat people with addictions by giving them other opiates. My expectations was for my son to get the proper therapy that he needed and to teach him the dangers of doing the drugs and to try and find what the root cause may be of why he needs to take the drugs that he was taking. I think that, what starts innocently enough with experimentation, at some point when you're dealing with it for years and years, I think that there's underlying issues, and I think that a psychiatrist in the facility should really be spending a lot of time with them, not just seeing them once a week, but I feel that they should be seen more than once a week by the psychiatrist, and I really feel that there shouldn't be any sort of diagnosis until that child has the drugs somewhat out of his system where they can really determine what the problem is. And, there are children also that parents may have missed. Maybe a child is, borderline autistic, or he's borderline Asperger's, or he's borderline anything, or just different signs that they've missed in school all the years and everything. So maybe they're self-medicating, and, all it really is something that with the right medication, they could help this child feel better about himself and feel better inside, and that all needs to be done over time in treatment. Until I lost my son and I really got into publishing my magazine, I never realized that sober livings weren't somehow governed by the state. I was under the impression that they were licensed. I had no idea. And so I think that what they're doing now with certifying residences and making certain standards is absolutely needed. It's something that's very needed. So I think that the treatment should go towards a more medical model. at this point, and I think that the sober living should have certain standards that they must adhere to, and to give our children really the best opportunity to get better. And there should be therapy, I think, required. And I just think that there's a lot that they can do. I personally think that an extended living is really the way to go for a lot of children getting out of treatment. You need to have certain standards. There needs to be certain amenities and certain, I think, clinical or, just getting them to meetings and having group meetings in the house. And there should just be certain structure in these homes. That's what a sober living is supposed to be. And, my advice to many families is just to ask the right questions and don't be afraid, because you could be intimidated sometimes when you talk to the treatment center and they'll rush you, or they tell you, they're not sure, if your insurance, but they'll try to get you in. Whatever it is, don't be afraid to ask those questions. You need to know. As far as FAR, I think that FAR has done an amazing job. I think that they have really brought addiction out in the open, the sober living problems that were going on. They brought those out into the open also, and he's doing a great job getting residences to become certified and to be part of the organization overall.